Well, thank you very much for having me here. I hope to bring to you a story about hybrid intelligence, which is the intelligence that augments human intellect instead of trying to replace it. So the main message here is that we're not looking for automation, but for teamwork. And in the whole work on hybrid intelligence, you have artificial intelligence, you have the human, and of course, they have to work together in a certain context. So context is in particular important. So if we think about our future with artificial intelligence, then we all know of the potential benefits. We all know also of misuse and side effects. And you've heard many stories today on how you could go for the benefits and avoid the negative side effects. One of the key elements in there is to be able to align to human values and societal values. And to do that, you have to understand what those human values are, and you have to be able to place that into context, as I said earlier. Now, then how do we get into hybrid intelligence? For us, that is about having AI work together with humans in a way that in which the human has meaningful control over the artificial intelligence system. And for that, I bring these two pictures. So you see a horse as certainly a type of intelligent animal on this planet. It will go and jump over an obstacle if that's suddenly coming in front of the rider. And the rider's job is to stay on that horse and in the meantime also steer the horse towards where you want to go. Now, that means that the artificial intelligence, or in this case the horse, has its own autonomy, but is collaborating with the human in a way that is contextualized to the surroundings. I could say a lot more about that, but I want to switch now to negotiation to make this project, or this idea, more clear. I've been working for many years on negotiation support systems, and one of the things that I understood is that in many aspects of life we negotiate, and upfront you don't always know what exactly it is that you want to negotiate about. So if you think that you can just preload everything from a domain and then be done with it, you're mistaken. You have to talk to the other party to understand exactly what is going on, and that's human work. That's a human skill, and you have to understand together what that context is. How to translate the specifics of the context to artificial intelligence that can help you then outsmart humans in terms of more smarter bidding is something that we've been working on for many years. So just to say, one of the things why negotiation is difficult for humans is the well-known aspect that they leave money on the table. No matter how well they are prepared, we have this problem of bounded rationality. And as soon as you have more than a couple of issues that you want to negotiate on, we see that people are reaching suboptimal outcomes. Now, the other point is, as I said just before, they slowly discover what actually the negotiation is all about. You discover that together with the partner that you're talking about. So yes, you can do a lot of preparation beforehand, but in the end, you also have to do it during the negotiation. There are many more things that I can say about that, but let me bring you to a point where by now almost 20 years ago we did a SWOT analysis in terms of negotiation, and we said, well, okay, the strengths of the humans are that they understand natural language, that they recognize emotions and know how to deal with that they have emotions, which is both benefit and detrimental, and they have some general world knowledge. On the other hand, computers, the negotiation support systems are good at calculating, so they can calculate what type of bids we can make to the other party, can evaluate those bids very rationally, we can keep an overview for the human user. Of course, it doesn't have these emotions, so it stays calm, and it has a wealth of negotiation knowledge that we can offer to the user. Now, if you look at negotiation, then in general you could say there are these 4 stages. You do your private preparation, which kind of determines about 80% of the outcome of your negotiation. Then you do a joint exploration with the other parties. You understand better what the negotiation is all about. And only then do you start bidding. And the bidding, in the end, if you're successful, you get towards a deal and you have to close the deal, sign the contract, and so on. Now, what you see depicted next to this is where the human and where symbolic AI at that time could make a difference, could help to support humans. And you see there was only a small part of the preparation that you can do, basically none in the joint exploration. We can do a lot in bidding, so there's a wealth of literature on automated negotiation. We have fantastic bidding strategies that will really bring you close to an optimal outcome, leaving no money on the table, and we can offer some help in closing. So although it is complex in terms of the bidding rounds, you can say the support that you can give is in terms of this diagram, as you can see over here. This line is what is called the Pareto optimal frontier, in case you know it. Basically means that there is no deal that's possible here, but any other deal that you can reach, you can depict as how good it is for one side and how good it is for the other side. And that's also depicted in red up there. And it means that any bid which is below this is what we call suboptimal, which means leaving money on the table. So the trick here is to get up to this line, and depending on whose party you are, better to this side or more towards this side. That's what you do, and for that we developed some systems in which we can easily show that they outperform humans directly, but also if you support them, you can show that humans do significantly better at the negotiation. You see 3 groups of people here that we put into a study. One were computer science students, one group was students of industrial engineers, and the third one was business students. The big difference between the business students and the computer science students and the industrial engineers was that the business students had a full lecture, a full course on how to negotiate. So they knew all the guru literature. And luckily enough, you see that that pays off. They also really outperform the others. The industrial engineers, I think, had fair criticism on the way that the interfacing was done in the system, and the computer science students quickly understood how it worked and then used that to their benefit. So, yes, we significantly outperform humans in those kind of settings, no problem whatsoever. If you talk about this Pareto optimality, then you can see indeed that we significantly outperform people with respect to this Pareto optimal frontier. What you see is that people did not use all aspects of the support system to the best. So indeed, we had to improve the way that the support is offered to people. Here you see, for example, that you could click on some of the bits on the frontier, and that made it easy for people to bid in the negotiation towards the other party. But not all of them did, and not all of them did so consistently. So yes, you have to improve that. On the other hand, if we look at it, then I'll show you this frontier again. So you get all kinds of information where you see how far you went so far, and that you can ask for a suggestion, which brings you up into a region where you can expect that the outcome of the negotiation will lie. How do we get them there? How do we get these pictures? These pictures require a formalization of the domain that you're negotiating about, really understanding what each bit is composed of and how to evaluate it. And that's a problem which has caused the negotiation software that's out there to support you not to be picked up by industry so far. And that has to do, by and large, with the problem that the humans don't understand what they're negotiating about before they start. And at that time, computers were not good enough at understanding natural language to figure out what it was that they were talking about. So if we do 10 years later, 2017, we look at the research agenda, you see that the domain knowledge is a big problem at that moment. Understanding what this domain of negotiation is all about. and understanding the preferences, the underlying concerns, the underlying interests of the negotiators. Second is the long-term perspective. Do I get to know you better? Can I negotiate and support you better over time? User trust and adaptation I just already mentioned. And the last thing is, can we also do more learning on that? So by and large, the research was clustered, you can cluster it along these 3 dimensions of self-sufficiency, self-directedness, and interdependence. So if you apply that to the same diagram, you see that with respect to 2007, in 2017, some aspects were really changing. You see that we could offer more support in the closing and even more support in the bidding phase of the negotiation. However, the first bit, which was key to understanding the domain, was not covered yet, and also in the joint exploration, no support was possible. Now, of course, since then, we've seen the outcome of the large language models. And if we take that into account, what opportunities do they offer for negotiation support and also for automated negotiating agents? And here we go to the point where, indeed, if you do another analysis, then you see that suddenly, in a combination of symbolic AI and the large language models, you can do a lot more. I'm saying here in 2024, we see that in the private preparation, you can already help people. You see these programs also online, the negotiator of OpenAI, for example. If you ask for advice, what to bid or what to do in a certain domain, it will give you the typical issues that people negotiate about. It will not tell you how to bid. It will not tell you how to evaluate the bid of another party, because that requires a different type of artificial intelligence. But it does help in the private preparation. And for me, as an AI researcher, that means that suddenly I am in a ball field where I can really go from all the way from offering support at the beginning, while you're still starting to contemplate to go into a negotiation, even help you in the joint exploration. We can kind of listen in, or at least follow emails back and forth between the negotiators to understand their concerns. And then that means that I can also, at that moment, using AI, come up with bids that help us cover the gap between the negotiators. So if we know that a negotiation gets stuck, also in the bidding phase, and we see that they are still pretty much a distance from each other, what is it? Which core concern is not covered by the bids that you are making so that the other party can say yes to you? And vice versa, of course. Can I then explain this to you? And can I then also maybe come with a few suggestions that might help you bridge that gap? And that's why I think at this point in time, we are really at a new crossroads where the artificial intelligence supported negotiation brings to you a hybrid form of intelligence that can bring you further. Let's do that in one more time. Look at this web figure. You see that we put in situation awareness, human factors, negotiation overview, explainability, negotiation strategies, trust and adoption. Situation awareness is key. If you don't understand the negotiation situation, if you don't understand the other party, everything is out. So for that, we really, so far, still heavily have to rely on the humans. And so you see the blue line of the humans goes all the way to the 100 in this figure. Understanding human factors, same way. So what's the emotional load for people? Why are they stressing out at a certain point? Why are they getting enthusiastic? That's all in there. Then in maintaining a negotiation overview, this is really something which cognitively is a hard thing for humans, so we're back to almost zero there. Of course, we can explain what we're doing, and we trust each other to help each other out during a negotiation. In terms of negotiation strategies, you have people that are really excellent at that, and you have people that are really bad at it. Now, if we combine that with the large language models, you see that trust and adoption is really going up, And you see this all around you. Everyone is using it, even if they're warned for all the hallucinations and the biases that it brings. So trust and adoption is a good thing, but it needs to be calibrated. And in terms of the other aspects, we were already on track. We know exactly how to come up with the best negotiation strategies for you. So if we combine this, we suddenly have a strong system at our hands. And that's the story that I wanted to tell you, as the way forward, in my mind, is hybrid intelligence for these kind of systems, where you combine large language models, reinforcement learning, symbolic AI, and human intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Catholijn. Do we have questions for Catholijn? Raise your hands. I am a terrible negotiator. I'm really, really bad. And I would love to get some advice from you about how to be a better negotiator. Do you have like 3 tips for doing better in negotiations, assisted by AI or otherwise? How might I use AI to get better outcomes?
Yeah, so the first thing is prepare. And we're lazy, so we don't want to do that. Even for buying a house, people spend like 5 minutes and then start bidding.
Right.
You could do a bit better. You could really think on having at least 5 issues that you want to negotiate about. And all that kind of advice you can find in, say, the well-known literature, say, Harvard Business School, on how to do your negotiations. If you want to use AI, be careful what you use. So do understand that large language models have no idea of the context that you're talking about, so it will give you average information on negotiation in that domain. So use it smartly, and then come to people that know how to put artificial intelligence into the bidding.
Okay. Do we have questions? Please raise your hand for Catholijn.
There's
AI negotiation. One over here.
Thank you. Very interesting. Do you use all of the AI elements, the reinforcement learning and the LLMs, mostly for the prep? I didn't understand that. Or do you use them also during the bidding itself, which could be live? For example, if you go buying a house, you want to be able to negotiate on the spot sometimes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. So far, until a few years ago, we stuck completely to, the image is gone, we stuck to the point where we did indeed focus on the bidding, where we assumed that we knew what the negotiation would be all about. We have our reinforcement learning and other knowledge techniques, multi-object optimization techniques, and we advise people during bidding, which was fine, but entering for someone a new negotiation means that you have to help us model what the domain is about, and that takes some time. And people are lazy at spending their time, and they find it difficult. So this is where the new breakthrough is coming from, where the large language models will help us do that.
I don't know if you saw the keynote over here for the next question, please. The keynote of Mark Heaps and Grok. I feel like they're pretty close to having a system where we could have real time in our ear a negotiation AI based on, fed with RAGs, model information from our own domain, and be able to tell us what we need to say next to get a better deal. That's quite exciting in a way.
It will do that.
Yeah.
The question is whether it's good enough. And I think you can do better.
Right. We have time for one more question, very quickly. Yes, sir.
Yes, quick question. Have you already tried some more complex architecture where the LLM has short-term and long-term memory, for instance? And also for situational awareness and emotion detections, have you tried like face reading based on image vision models?
Let me see if I can recap, because I don't think everyone heard it. It's about, on the one hand, do we use, large language models with memory stuff in it, and the other one is about emotions. I'll pick up on the emotions first. We deliberately chose not to do that. From the start, it was very easy to put a camera in a negotiation room, have the voice analysis there to detect lying, etc. We decided not to do that because it's a no-go area for
ethics.
Yes, for the more serious negotiations. So we decided not to do that. Which brings us to the other point. Indeed, in the same sense, if you have large language models and you use memory, yes, you should, because it understands your preferences better. Then the question now is an interesting one. Do people accept you having your ears there, or are you supposed to give all your equipment down, put that down at the door, right?
Yeah.
And you can go back in for, say, toilet break and look at the results of the negotiation so far. I think we're going to see some interesting times.
Yeah.
For more, say, negotiations that recur more often, I think this will be more easy to do.
Yeah, I'm glad there's never facial recognition software for when I'm doing negotiations, because I have the worst poker face in the world. When I get a good deal, I'm like,
okay.
Catholijn, thank you so much for joining us. Round of applause for Catholijn,
My pleasure.
please.
Thank you.